Hey guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. My name is Ashley and I'm homeschooling mom to one, and today I want to share with you a review of Gather Around Homeschool. I wanted to wait until I'd done a couple of units before I did a review and kind of told you how I felt about it, because I really like for people to have some experience with things, before they give their review. And I wanted to have some of the units under my belt before I shared how I felt about it. So this video is going to be how I felt about the units, how they worked in our home, and then I'm also going to answer some questions that I get asked an awful lot anytime that I share about Gather Around Homeschool, or anytime I'm reading the things on the Gather Around Homeschool Facebook community. I just want to answer some questions just from my perspective. Now remember, I am a homeschooling mom to one 5th grade boy. So he's 11 years old, and so that's totally different than a lot of homeschoolers. So it's coming from a perspective of using it with one child. And but I do think I have a unique perspective because I am using it with one child and I'm a former public school teacher. So I do look at curriculum, from a teacher point of view and a parent point of view. So I want to share with you my 5 favorite things about Gather Around Homeschool, and then I'm going to answer some of the questions that I normally get or see about Gather Around Homeschool. So first off, what I want to say is I know that Gather Around is all the rage right now. It's really popular right now. I know last year it was a different curriculum, and this year it's Gather Around. And I don't want you to think that I'm just jumping on this curriculum because it's the newest thing. At first, I did. I was like, oh, this is exciting. This is what I'm looking for. But after I used the samples and after I purchased the units myself with my own money, I really do like it, and it really does work for our home. So let me show you what we've done so far. We have finished Space. We have finished Asia. I just lost the cover of the notebook. And we have finished North American Birds. So we have 3 units under our belt, and we're about to start on Oceans, which I'm super pumped about because this works in our home. So first things first. The number one thing that I love about Gather Around Homeschool is that it allows time for my son to follow his interest. So what I mean by that is I love the unit studies. He enjoys them. He enjoys the reading. He doesn't mind the work. He even told me, and I've said this before in my videos, he even told me this is the first curriculum that doesn't stress me out. And that means so much to me. I want him to enjoy learning, guys, and this curriculum has brought back his love for learning. It has just developed his love for learning, and that is what I wanted. That was my goal all the time, is to make him enjoy learning. Or not really make him, but hope that he enjoys learning, because you want to make your kids lifelong learners. And I think this curriculum is perfect for that. Because it's unit study based and it's really simple to do, I read from the teacher's guide and then we work through the pages. That allows the rest of the day for him to do math, and then he can learn about whatever else he wants to. We're not sitting at a table or on the couch for hours at a time. We are not like an 8 to 3 kind of family. We don't do that. If that works for you, totally great. Keep going. But for us, that doesn't work. He has ADHD, and this just works for him. We can get this done in about an hour to an hour and a half, and look at that whole amount of time that's left the rest of the day for him to learn about his interest. So that is my number one thing. It works for my son. I've been through a ton of curriculum. I've tried all different kinds of things in our 2 years, and this is what works for him. It works. And that's all that matters. If it works, then we're going to keep going until it doesn't work anymore, and then I'll worry about it then. But right now, it works, and it allows time for that interest-led learning. The next thing that I love about it is it has brought peace to our homeschool. I'm going to be totally honest. I really thought that when we started homeschooling that it was going to be just this magical experience, that he was just going to love to learn and love to write, and he would just pick up all these books, and it was just going to be magical. Like you see on Instagram and YouTube a lot. And it wasn't. It wasn't like that at all. Most days were actually anger and frustration and tears and stubbornness, and it wasn't a lot of fun. And the one thing that I can say about Gather Around Homeschool is it has brought peace to our home. And I can't thank them enough for that, because starting school and knowing that we're going to have a good attitude and we're learning something and we're enjoying it and our relationship is still intact at the end of the day and we still are speaking to each other, that means more to me than anything else in the world. My relationship with my son is the most important thing and everything else comes after. And this curriculum has brought a peace to our home like no other. So I'm very, very thankful for that. The third thing I like about it is that everything's covered. I can buy the unit and print it off, and the only thing that I have to go look for outside of that is math. So if you're looking for something that is all-encompassing, meaning it covers all of your subjects except for math, then Gather Around Homeschool may be for you. I love it. I don't have to go looking for anything. I know that if we cover a unit study, he is getting all of his subjects hit that he needs, and he's getting the practice that he needs in all of them. So having all the subjects in one has been super helpful. The second thing, oh my goodness, I can't even count. I can't count. The fourth thing that I love about it, I'm on number 4, is that it's very low prep. Once you print it out, or once you have it printed and mailed to you, that's it. She does have like a supply list, so if there is an extra experiment that you want to do, she'll have like extension activity, or you may want to do this, or something like that. You don't have to do those extra things. You strictly could read from the teacher's guide and do the pages, and that would be totally enough. But my son does love hands-on things, so the prep is super low prep. It's like, hey, go grab these things, do this, go to this website and look here. Super easy low prep. So if you're looking for low prep, Gather Around Homeschool, low prep. Now, see if I can count. The fifth thing, the last thing that I really love about Gather Around Homeschool is the price. Now, I don't know about you, but I have spent a lot of money on curriculum, a lot of money that was wasted because it didn't work for my son. And had I known it wasn't going to work, I may not have invested in it, but you don't know until you try, right? So the curriculum didn't work, and I feel like I've just thrown that money away. So what I'm paying for Gather Around Homeschool, I feel like is a good investment. Now, because I only have one child, it's a little different. It's going to be different for families that have more than one child. I pay for the one student notebook and the teacher's guide, and it's $19.95. It's the digital, it's the PDF. They email it to me. I print it off. I print it off at home, and that's what we use. And I really feel like I'm getting a good deal. I mean, I'm paying $19.95, and all my son's subjects are covered except for math. That's a good deal. I'm not having to buy separate books and separate workbooks and textbooks and all that. It's all in one unit, guys. I mean, I can't even describe it to you. And I know it's going to be different. The prices are very different if you have more than one child, but it's very reasonable for one child. And I know people say, well, why don't you just buy the digital bundle, and that way when you come back to it, because you're supposed to loop through it, there's like a 4-year cycle, and then you're supposed to come back. I just can't think that far ahead. I am just way too relaxed in our homeschool to think that far ahead, and what's working for my son right now may not be working for him in a month. It may not be working for him 6 months. So I don't want to plan that far ahead, and right now for me it's just reasonable to pay the $19.95, and we pick the unit that we want. I didn't buy the whole year. I let him pick. I show him what's up there. I say, hey, which one you want to do, and that's what we do. And so that's reasonable for us. So those are the 5 reasons why I love it. And remember, I bought this with my own money. I talk about it because I love it. And if you want to see any of the flip-throughs, I have some flip-throughs of space and Asia and oceans and North American birds. And I have a few day-in-the-life videos where you can watch us do lessons. And I even have a video about how I organize the units before we use them and how I put them on a clipboard for my son. So definitely check that out. So now let's get into the questions that I see all the time. So the first thing I see is about pricing and printing. And people are like, oh, this is expensive, or how do you afford printing, and things like that. So do know that there are a ton of options. If you go to gatheraroundhomeschool.com and you check it out, you're going to pull up the units and you're going to see the different prices. So if you have one student, or if you just buy the digital bundle, and I think it's like $59. And what is so great, guys, is this is going to work for all of your kiddos. That's the whole point of Gather Around, is it's for pre-K all the way to high school. So once you purchase it, you've covered everybody. So you're really buying curriculum for all your kiddos. And if you sat and you added up separate curriculum for each of your kiddos, you're probably going to spend a lot more money. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to spend a lot more money. So definitely look into it and really think about it. Maybe add up what you've spent already on buying separate curriculum and compare it to what it would cost for you to buy a year's worth of Gather Round or a unit of Gather Round. But for us, the one student, one teacher notebook works perfectly fine. And remember, you can print it at home or you can have it sent to you. And I've seen the ones that she has mailed out, and they are beautiful. Now for us, and what I do for printing is I have HP Instant Ink. That works perfectly for me because I only have one kid. I do have my friend Heather, who runs our co-op. They also do Gather Round at their home, and she has more children than I do. And so it didn't make sense for her to use HP Instant Ink. So she has, I think, one of those eco tanks that everybody's, raving about. And I'm sure that's great. If you have to print a lot of stuff, I think that's the way to go. So look into that. If you're interested in printing at home, look into Instant Ink from HP or look into the Eco Tank, because I think they're both great ways. Or if you want to, splurge and let her mail them to you, because Rebecca has a great huge printing operation going on, and she can print it and bind it and send it right to you. So there are options. The next thing I hear is binding. How do you bind it? Well, if you order from her, it already comes bound. You can also send it, I think Barnes & Noble will print it and they'll bind it for you. You can always print it and take it to an office supply store. But to keep it simple, if you like things simple, I like to put mine in a 3-ring binder, or I have in my organization video, I show you how I separate it into this other little binder that I have. You can keep it as simple as you want to, or you can take it and have it bound yourself. Really simple. Storing when finished. What do you do with these units when you're finished? Well, what I like to do is put them in a latchmate container that I picked up at Michael's. I just take them out of the notebook that they're in because I don't want to keep 1,000 binders everywhere. And I just binder clip them here. And the reason why mine's so thick is because I don't print front and back. I'm probably going to change that up soon. But I clip it and then I put it in a latchmate container. I actually have a video about how I store these on my YouTube channel, so definitely check it out. So storage is pretty easy. You could put them all in one binder if you have multiple kids, or you could keep them in a container and label the container with a year so you know what your kids have done that year. All right, now this one. Is it enough? Is any curriculum ever enough? When I sit and think about that question, and I think about when I taught public school, and I think, okay, these are the things I did with these kids every day, but was it enough? Was it enough to prepare them for first grade? I'm sure I left something out. I'm sure our curriculum had some holes in it. I'm sure. And I have those same feelings as a parent, a homeschool parent. And I think we're going to question any curriculum, if it's enough. And I think we especially question this curriculum because it seems too good to be true. It seems like because it takes such a little amount of time that it couldn't possibly be enough. And guys, I'm here to tell you, it's enough. What your kiddos will retain from these unit studies is amazing. Even though my son likes to hurry through work, I mean, he's a typical boy. He wants to hurry through work and get to the other stuff. He's got other stuff to do. The amount of stuff that he's retained, the things that he talks about, even long after we finished a unit. I mean, we're still talking about things we did in September with North American birds. It's amazing. The amount of retention for these unit studies, for us, I'm speaking for us, is amazing. He has learned so much. I have learned so much. And I don't know if you can ever really answer the question, is it enough? It really just depends on what you're looking for. So that's what you need to do. You need to sit down and you need to say, what do I think is enough? How, what can I do? What do I need to write down? What are my non-negotiable things that this has to meet so that I feel like I'm doing enough? That's something you're going to have to kind of decide yourself. And I think the only way you can do that is print you a sample, try it out. She has samples on the website. Try it out, see how it works, and see how, if you want to add to it, you can, and see if you think it's enough. I think as parents and as teachers, we sometimes get in this rut where we see other people doing other things and we think, oh gosh, maybe we're not doing enough. And we start to doubt ourselves. Or maybe this isn't rigorous enough. And I tell you right now, I hate the word rigor. I really feel like learning shouldn't be hard and difficult for it to be good work or a good curriculum. I hate that word. Learning should be enjoyable and should be something we want to do. And so you really need to sit and evaluate what's important to you. And that's what will answer if this is enough. For us, this curriculum is enough. It meets all of my standards of I'm introducing him to so many things. We're hitting the subjects just like we need to. And he's happy. He's happy and he's learning. So for us, it's enough. You decide that for yourself. Don't make judgments on it based on anybody else. You can listen to their comments and their suggestions. You decide for yourself if it's enough for you. Another thing that I've seen is there enough spelling and is there enough writing? Well, if you are looking for traditional spelling where the kids memorize a list of 20 words and they practice them all week and they take a test on Friday, then no, it's not going to work for you because that's not what it is. Spelling and grammar and things like that are taught through copywork. Copywork is where you just copy a passage, and in Gather Round, it's a scripture piece. And from there, she will pick a word. Usually it'll have words that are suggested for spelling. And then sometimes I get my son to go in and say, I'll say, what other words do you think you might have trouble spelling when you write this? When it comes up and it's dictation time, what might you have trouble spelling? If he says, I'm good, I know all of them, we go with it. If not, we practice. So sometimes we have 3 words, sometimes we have 1, sometimes we have none. It totally depends, on the passage. So if you're okay with spelling being taught through copywork, which is an excellent way to teach spelling, and I learned that through Julie Bogart from Brave Writer, copywork is great for spelling and grammar. So I feel like it's enough, but again, you need to be the judge. You need to try it with your kiddos and see how it works, and if you feel like you need to add more, go for it. Same with language arts. They keep saying, is there enough language arts and grammar in it? That's totally up to you. Language arts is included. Now, do you hit it every day? No. It does come up ever so often, and we'll work on it, and we'll talk about it in copywork too. And what I've done is if I notice my son is having trouble with something, then I will go and pull a sheet. We have some language lessons for Living Education that I purchased. We also have some Good and the Beautiful that I print off because, levels 1 to 5 are free. So if I notice that he's having trouble with a concept in Gather Round, or he needs just a little bit more practice, I'll go pull from one of them. Or we'll play a game to go with it. Or I'll point it out when we're reading. So if you need to add to it, you have that ability. Because it doesn't take forever, you do feel like you have the freedom to add a little more to it if you want to. And so that kind of comes, well, let's talk about writing and then we'll talk about add-ons. So someone has asked about writing. Is there enough writing? I think so. And the reason why I think so is I just come from this place where I don't feel like you need to write an essay every day. Like I don't feel like that's beneficial. I don't think it really teaches you very much. And I think writing is just, you want to build a love for writing. And so you want kids to be creative and you want them to have fun and enjoy it. And then you want to work on the mechanics and all that. And so what I love about Gather Round Homeschool is that every month, or not every month, I shouldn't say that, every unit is a different writing project. So we have done an informational report, we have done a comic strip, which was a ton of fun, and we've done, what was Asia's? Asia's was a story, you just made up a story. But what I loved about it is it's broken up throughout the lessons, and each time you get to a writing lesson, she is so great about breaking it down for the kiddos to really show them how to plan, how to develop characters, and everything just walks them through it until they're at their final piece. And it's really helped my son to just focus on one writing project a month. And he's really grown. This 3rd unit that we've done, his story was awesome. Character development was amazing, something he has never done very well before. He's more of like a start-finish, and he leaves out all the important stuff. Because of her planning sheets and the way she approached it, and we talked about plot, and we talked about building the conflict up and all that good stuff, because we did that, his story was really well. And then he typed it up and he read it to our family, and it was amazing. So for us, it's enough writing. Now let's get to this point. Do you have to add anything to it? Again, totally up to you. If you think you need more spelling, add it. If you think you need more language arts, add it. If you think there needs to be more writing, add it. That is totally up to you. You're their mom. You know what's going to work best for them. You know your kiddos better than anybody else. And if you think they need more, then you add it. You don't have to. It's open and go. You can read from the teacher's guide, you can do the worksheets, and you can be done. But if you want to add, you can. You can add books, you can add extra experiments, you can add games, whatever you come up with. That's totally up to you, but you don't have to, okay? And then another thing is, do you have to finish it within a month? No. Buy the unit and take your time with it. I know some people just use it in Morning Basket. Some people only use it on Fun Fridays. Some people use this curriculum as their main curriculum, and they're using it 4 to 5 days a week. Some people take a lesson and stretch it out the entire week. You can take this unit and do exactly what you want to with it because it's your homeschool. And you do what works for you. If you find something you love in one of the units and your kiddos want to keep learning about it, then go for it. You do not have to finish it in a month's time. I mean, she's already released, when I say she, Rebecca, her team has already released Africa. They're about to release Earth Science, and we're nowhere near ready for that, and that's okay. We've just taken it slow. We've enjoyed ourselves. I forgot we've also done the Christmas unit, which was awesome, and you might want to check that out for next Christmas. We just took our time, and we're really enjoying it, so you can make it be whatever you want it to be. So that's my review. It works well for us. It's what's working right now, and I really love it. And if we need to change things up later, then we will, because that's the great thing about being a homeschooler. You can be flexible and you can change things up. But for us, Gather Around Homeschool is working, and I love to talk about it to anybody that will listen. So if you want to know more about Gather Around Homeschool, you can check it out at gatheraroundhomeschool.com. You can check out Rebecca Spooner's, words are gone, YouTube page called Homeschool On. You can also follow along in the Gather Around Homeschool Facebook community. That's a great place to go to get ideas. Parents share things all the time that they're doing with their kiddos. And anytime there's corrections or new downloads or things like that, you're going to find it there. So definitely go and check it out. If you have any more questions about Gather Around Homeschool, please leave them in the comments below, and I will definitely get back to you. Thanks for watching.